Welcome to Court Helicopter News, all the way from Bondo, where we have come to give our last respects to the late Doyen, Raila Amolo Odinga. Do you know, this is the first person who was given a state burial and one who was allowed to lay in parliament, and yet he was not a president, nor was he a serving deputy or vice president. The state burial has two roles. There's the state burial where people are not taken to parliament. Only 4 people have been taken to parliament. In the year 2003, Kijana Wamalwa, then the vice president of the Republic of Kenya, was taken to parliament and he lay in parliament. 2, His Excellency the late President Mwai is the second person to lay in parliament. The third person is President Kibaki. He's the third president who was laid in parliament. And lastly, Raila Amolo Odinga. Only 4 people have been given the honor to lay in state in parliament. Then you'll be asking me, what about Jomo Kenyatta? Jomo Kenyatta, the first president of the Republic of Kenya, died in Mombasa State House. He was brought to Nairobi State House and lay in State House for 10 days. He was removed from State House and taken to be buried at Parliament grounds. So President Jomo Kenyatta never lay in Parliament as the 4 have laid in Parliament. What is the importance of Parliament? Parliament is specific because all 55 million Kenyans have elected their representatives. Members of parliament from the opposition, members of parliament from the ruling party, members of parliament from the independent parties, members of parliament who are nominated, all converge in parliament. Parliament is the seat of every Kenyan. State House is the seat of a president who has been elected by the majority. And that is why it became incumbent that after Jomo Kenyatta lay in State House, now we must be taking our national heroes to parliament. That is why Raila had to be taken even for 2 minutes to lay in parliament, because he represents the national heroes of this country. Number 2, what is the implication of Raila Odinga laying in state in parliament? Raila Odinga has been elevated to the level of a president. The law that deals with deaths and state burials are found in Cap 197A, which deals with the retirements and benefits of a sitting president and a retired president. Section 12 provides that only the head of state serving or a retired president shall have a state burial. Then there is the law that deals with others. That is Chapter 197B, that deals with the sitting Chief Justice and Deputy Chief Justice, or they are retired, the sitting speakers and their deputies, the sitting CDFs and their deputies. All these people, that is where the seat of the retired Prime Minister falls. Under Section 16, they are given an official burial, not a state burial. They get an official burial. An official burial is different from a state burial. That is why the CDF Ogola that is why Wangari Maathai, that is why Mukami Kimathi were given official burials. They were not accorded state burial with full honors of KDF. A national state burial, it is the KDF who take over the body. The body left the hands of the family, and it is the property of KDF. What will happen during the gun salute? The head of state is the only one allowed to take a 21-gun salute. Raila Odinga will take a 19-gun salute, which elevates Raila Odinga as an epitome of the national heroes who has laid where his father, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, did not get a chance to be taken to parliament. It is a great honor. How does this decision come about? The president can decide this through two instruments of the Constitution: an executive order, and that executive order does not apply to deaths. It applies to reorganization of government. The president exercised this power through what is called a presidential proclamation. A presidential proclamation cannot be challenged in court. A presidential proclamation cannot be taken for contest anywhere. And that is why a presidential proclamation starts with the president showing as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces and the chair of the National Security Council. He calls the National Security Council as the chair, and the deputy president is also a member. They agree that it is for the national security and the peace of the nation to accord Raila Odinga this rare opportunity. This is communicated to the cabinet. The cabinet approves. Then the president gives what is called a proclamation order. Many Kenyans have been blaming the president that he delayed to announce the death of Raila Odinga. The president does not announce the death of a national hero himself. He must consult the National Security Council. He must chair a cabinet for them to allow him the full powers of the state to announce. Therefore, this is the law as it is. The president was right, and the situation is calm, and we shall be dealing with the implications after the next episode. Wakili Danstan Omari, Court Helicopter News. Asante.